Hello everyone. This is going to be part 2 of a video series about the NewBeeDrone Flyby frame. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link in the description to the first video, and eventually when all the video series are out, I'll put all of them down there. And I think either here or there, whatever, I can put a link to the other video so you can see it first. Go ahead and find that. In that first intro, I was getting to know the frame myself. I did have some input in the design. This was mostly done by Leviathan and NewBeeDrone, but when they were getting it ready, the prototypes, they handed it over to the team and we looked it over and made suggestions. I made a couple suggestions on, thought the arms should be longer to accept 6S, and a couple other things like the motor bolt count and whatnot. And some of the things were done, some of the things were actually done and then reverted. 4 bolts was too much because the 1 bolt in the back added some, like a weak point to the arms. But most of the other things were done. So what I have it here, it is not complete yet. It is basically about 60% done. It looks mostly built, but stuff is still kind of attached. I did get the motor soldered to the ESC, but the flight controller still needs to be wired up. However, now that I'm working on it, I've learned a lot of things about the frame that I did not mention in the first video. And one thing I can tell you is I'm very, very excited about it. I'm super stoked. I'm loving it. At first I wasn't completely sure, but now that I'm putting it together, I'm like, whoa, this thing is awesome. There you have it. My camera's not very good at focusing. I'm working on getting another proper vlogging camera, but in the meantime, this is what we've got. So the one thing, I'm not actually doing a build through, like showing you how I'm building it, so we're just discussing it simply because it's a matter of time. It takes really long to do one of those videos, but I'll offer you what I found out so far here, and then when we do the final video, which is likely going to be when it's completed and with the flight, I'll do like a conclusion of my thoughts and show you the performance and whatnot. The one thing this might save you time with is when you get it, this is like a jigsaw puzzle in the way that, not a jigsaw puzzle, more like it's modular in the way that because it is not meant to be built in one single way, you can build them in different ways. For me, it took a while just to decide how I wanted it to be built. When I first started messing around with it on the bench, I have some footage of when I was putting it together, and there was some guesswork. There's no instructions yet on it, so I kind of like move stuff around. I realized that screw doesn't go there. I might have some of that footage to show you. Check it out now. So in that footage, I'm kind of guessing how stuff goes and sort of like put stuff together, take some screws off, put some in, realize one screw wouldn't go there, it needs to be somewhere else. So but in a few minutes I got it done. Now the tricky part was when I decided to actually start building it, how I was going to build it. See, the guys at NewBeeDrone have only built these with Ori 32 ESCs by Airbot, which is one of the first ESCs that, even though it's not rated for 6S, is one of the first 20 by 20 ESCs that works with 6S. However, there's also the Emax Magnum F4 stack, but that one, the way it comes designed, doesn't actually fit in here. But what I'm proud to tell you is that I actually managed to put the ESC in here. So in this one, it does have the Emax F4 Magnum ESC, not the whole stack, just the ESC, and I'm matching it up with a CL Racing F4 Mini. It works with that one, it works with the Talon F4, and I bet there's other 20 by 20s that'll work with it just fine. It's the ESC bit that's hard to fit in there. But the thing is, when I first got it, I was like, okay, because you can build it. Let me see where I have a battery here somewhere. Come in. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is a 6S 1000 or 1050 R line. It fits those really well because they are small, and also the 1300 R line fits it very well as well. A fat battery like the China Hobby line 6S is a little fat for it. If you do bottom mount, it'll fit just fine, but if you want to do mid mount or top mount, it is a little bit tight. But anyway, with the R lines it's fine, and most of the other 6S batteries it fits just fine. And if you do bottom mount, then you don't have to worry. But when I first took it, I was like, okay, am I gonna do that? Am I gonna do this? Should I do toilet tank? Or this, which is in the end what I ended up choosing. That, and I'll explain why in a second. Originally I wanted to do mid-mount with the motors up here. That's the way Levi built his. Chris over at NewBeeDrone built his that way as well. And it's nice because the battery is in the center. I do have a Hyperlow that I built with a mid-mounted battery, and I like it a lot. It's a nice concept, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to try that. The biggest reason why I built it normally top-mounted was honestly mainly because of looks. I just like how it looks like this. And also, you get the benefit when you build it upside down, or it's not necessarily upside down, but when you build it inverted like this, that you have the mid-mount center of gravity for the battery really close to the center line with the motors here. It's like super close to the prop line, so it makes it for a more balanced quad, and that's the theory. But I just thought it looked really cool like this. I was like, I just love the look. So when you measure it, even though you're top mounting, the deck is so low based on the position of the arms. We're talking about 17 mil. So 17 millimeters from the top of the arm to the top of the cage where the battery is going to go. So even though it's top mounted, it's incredibly low compared to other frames. I mean, Armatan is the Chameleon is 20 or 25. The Reverb is 30. So it's very low regardless. So having a high center of gravity isn't going to be a problem regardless whether you put it wherever you do. The other reason I put it up here is because if I ever want to run a GoPro, I don't have to do any more modifications. I can run a GoPro mount, which we're working on by the way, and stick the battery on the bottom, and I don't have to do anything else. My original plan was to go like this, and I figured, you know what, if I want a GoPro, the motor's on this side, so I have to turn the motors over to where they are now and do something else. So now I really don't have to do anything but put the battery at the bottom if I want to run a GoPro. So it opens a couple of windows there, a couple of doors, and I like that idea. The other thing is that even though it seems like a really tight build, and it kind of was at first, but I gave it a lot of thought, and when I finally figured it out, it's actually turned out to have plenty of space, especially given the components are 20 by 20, so they tend to take a lot less space. It's just a matter of the fact that you just can't take a regular stack the way you can buy them, which usually the standards are kind of high and is meant mostly for bottom mounted frames with a tall stack. You can't do that. You kind of have to piece them individually, and that way you have plenty of space. And I found it was perfect. You know, I also have the heatsink for the Ori 32 ESC, which I have here somewhere. And because the original frame, sorry, I can't find it, but the original frame was designed around the Ori 32 ESC. So you can, this opening right here is meant for that heatsink. So you can buy extras if you want, and I'll probably end up getting extras, and you can just stick it to the Emax or any ESC that you have, really. And because the battery's not covering the hole, it should be a little bit more effective when the battery's on the top. The camera I chose for it right now is the Runcam Racer, but it'll fit anywhere from full-size cams to mini cams to micros because of the width. The thing is that I didn't want, because where we fly over pavement, I didn't want the camera lens to stick out, so I ended up going with a micro cam instead, even though I tend to prefer the full-size cams. I haven't flown the Runcam Racer yet, but I hope that I'll like it, and that's where it goes. And as you can see, the lens is fully protected by the cage. I said in the original video I wasn't sure whether the cage was aluminum or titanium. This one is definitely titanium. The first batch is I think it's gonna be aluminum, and then you will have later the choice of doing aluminum or titanium if there's enough interest in the price of titanium that more are ordered. We should find out. One thing that I wasn't sure of, that I wasn't sure that I liked it, was the position of the motors. See, if you can see here, notice how the motor wires come out of the side of the arm, so instead of coming down straight down the arm. Sorry about the tape because I'm not done, but you can see the motor wire sticks out of the side here instead of coming straight down the arm. Now originally I was like, what the heck? I wasn't sure I liked that idea, but now I'm like, okay, hold on, that's good. To give you a little bit of backtracking, back in early 2015, late 2014, early 15, there were some 1806 motors on the market at the time, where they were still popular, those motors, and they had a different pattern. So when you mounted them on some frames, you would end up with the wire sticking out like this if you mounted them on a frame that was designed for 2204 motors, for example. And this kind of reminded me of that, because the reason they are turned like this is because of the little bit of a clover leaf pattern of the arm, as you can see. And it kind of forces the motor wires to come out of there. However, when you think about it, and that's how I built it, if you build it inverted, that's a good thing, because you run the wires from the motors on the top, you run them under and then under the arm to the cage. And me, because I decided to build mine top mounted, the motors already come out the side, the motor wires. I just turn them around, run them down the bottom, put some, there's a lot of debate on these lights, but the point is, race lights with race wire, let's just mention those, and I ran those underneath. And then you go turn back up over to the cage. Now this I'm gonna tidy it up with tape and zip ties, and it's gonna look nice and clean. But the cool part about it is that I don't have to worry about striking the LEDs, and the LEDs are at the bottom where the people behind me will see them. So the idea of the motor wires coming out the side, I'll admit, at first I wasn't too sure of it, but now I'm like, okay, I like this idea. This is a really good idea. It makes it easy to route the wires underneath and then back up again, so you can have your LEDs at the bottom. Now, these only started getting popular recently. I mean, I'm talking about race wire got popular earlier this year, and all of a sudden somebody came up with the idea of doing LEDs on them, and suddenly everybody wants to put them on. So I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of these LEDs, and this motor setup where the wires come out the side is actually kind of smart for that, because of the way you want to mount the LEDs on the bottom of the arms. I'm still working out this pigtail. I want to make it a little bit shorter. Originally I actually had cut it to run it like this, and I was going to run it against the back plate back here, but when I finally decided to go top mount, I just left it, and I probably have to shorten it a little bit. Nice thing, in this position it'll run any antenna really. So I have a stubby, but it'll take I seem to not be able to find anything, but it'll take you know, a pagoda or whatever you want to put on it, really. There's enough clearance for it away from the props. Even though it's a concise, kind of tight frame and the props run really kind of short, very close to the cage. These are 15-149, so they're 5.1, a little bit longer. But as you can see, there's plenty of clearance there, and over here there's plenty of clearance. So as long as you can figure out how you're gonna mount the battery so it doesn't get hit by the props, you're good. And that's the whole plan for this. At the end of the series, you should be able to see it. I do apologize for the sound and the kind of like bad focusing this camera has, and the lighting. I'm not really set up for vlogging here. Maybe when the channel grows more, I'll put more money into it. I have actually pretty good photography equipment because I do a lot of photography for my day-to-day job, and I do video, of course, but this hasn't been my main focus, mostly stills. But yeah, apart from that, I hope this was valuable to you regardless of the lighting and the sound. And anyway, yeah, so I'm actually gonna work now. I'm gonna go make myself a cup of coffee. It's already like 8 p.m. and I'm gonna sit here for a couple of hours. I'm gonna attempt to finish this. Probably be done by tomorrow at some point. And as soon as I have a little bit more information as to how it flies, more feedback, and I can get some flight footage, which is just gonna be DVR, unfortunately, unless I figure out how to strap a GoPro to it. I'll come back and do a second video. By then you should have watched this one already, and the next one should be ready for you to get a final assessment of it. So far, in an honest opinion, I got this frame for free. Levi gave it to me, but what's it worth? $60, $80, whatever. It can be worth $100, $150. The point I'm saying is, it takes me hours to build it. It takes me hours to edit these videos and put it up, and trust me, I'm not on minimum wage. So what it means is that it's not about the money, it's not about getting the free frame. If I didn't like it, I would not spend my time building it, because my time is very valuable and I don't have a lot of time in my hands. So I can give you an honest opinion even though the frame was given to me for free, because if it's not worth it, I would just not do the video at all. So with that, I can tell you I am very impressed with it so far. I'm very happy that I'm building it. I have high hopes for it. It might actually end up being my main race frame. We'll find out. But there are a lot of things that went into this thing as far as design and parts that have me very impressed. And yeah, I'm very stoked to try it out. From what I can tell from the build, I have no complaints, and as long as it holds up to crashes, I know for a fact that it's gonna fly well, because I mean it's a frame, you know, it's stiff. That's what matters really, and it's the True X, so there's no really anything groundbreaking in terms of shapes. But the fact that this cage, the height of the battery, the way things are arranged, the fact that you can run 20x20 stuff, it makes it really light. So, and at the end of the day, I ran 2205 motors because they're lighter than 2207, and I don't think this is going to need such big motors to make up for the weight. The battery is a smaller 6S. This is only 180 grams. So overall, it's a very lightweight 6S build. In fact, it is comparable in weight to a mid-size to lightweight 4S build, because I've run 180 gram batteries on my lightweight Win 5 by X-Hover. So this is going to be outstanding, because we're talking about roughly the same weight of the build with a battery that is actually 5 grams more, just 5 grams more than the Win 5 battery, the 4S battery that I run. So yeah, I have high hopes for this. So I'll see you in the next video. Do me a favor, please subscribe, share with your friends, thumbs up. Go down there and hit the thumbs up button, because what you don't know is that you're not just telling me, oh, I like it. Actually, YouTube sees that and they're like, oh, this video is relevant, people are liking it, and they actually show it to more people. My channel is small, so help me out. There's a lot of work to do, and I'd like more people to see this stuff. So go ahead and thumbs up, because I know more people will see the video. Thanks, I'll see you next time. Until the next video.